Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how life is a dance. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that mind and body connected movement is vital to healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I created Dance to Heal Wellness featuring the Spotlight Confidence Formula and also authored the best-selling award-winning book, Outside In Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new ways to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. My darling audience, I have the most amazing guest today. Jam, welcome.
Thank you.
So, before I direct them towards the fact that we're both Datura teachers, which is a certification for dance format around the art of belly dance that is structured primarily from a growth mindset. Before we go into that, what is it that you do when you're not a Datura teacher, Jam?
I'm an astrologer and a massage therapist. And just an all-around non-binary queerdo that goes to a lot of drag shows. And I'm a dog parent.
I didn't
I
know
spend
you.
all my time with my dogs. Oh, and I go to aerials. I go to like 3 or 4 aerials classes a week. So
Okay, that's two new things I
stay
didn't
active.
know. Yeah. All right. So,
Yeah.
what are your dogs' names?
Garnet, like the stone.
Okay.
She's great. She's my personal floof. And then we have a brand new addition. Her name is Bluebee, like blueberry. She's a rascal. We just adopted her from the Humane Society. She's a Chihuahua with crazy, like wizard, like gray and black wizard hair. She was a stray. Um, she's been through some stuff. And then we also have a German Shepherd cattle dog mix. His name is Bosley, and he's very wise and sensitive. Yeah.
We have a cat whose short name is Blue, and she's named after Madame Blueberry of VeggieTales because
Oh, that's
she was supposed to be
cute.
the last cat, and then like eight cats later, it did not work.
That's adorable.
So tell us more about when you said that you do readings. What is that for you?
Like astrology readings?
Mhm.
Oh. I'm a big astrology nerd. I wanted to do it since I was a little kid, but I didn't think I was smart enough until my early 30s when I started going to like actual proper astrology programs, like multiple year-long programs to study. Um, so I study Hellenistic astrology, which it's reconstructed to the best of our ability from um, like Hellenistic doctrines that were written 1,000 to 2,000 years ago. So it's a lot different than like popular astrology, much more oriented towards like traditional planetary rulership, but like timing techniques. So the idea that your birth chart isn't 100% active all the time, but like at different points in your life, different planets like speak more loudly. So there's a lot of that stuff. It's awesome and very mystical.
I love mystical. And when you said that is it uh, a set yearly pattern, or it actually depends on the individual?
The timing techniques are standardized, so we would use the same timing techniques regardless of the person, but it changes based on their chart, basically when they're born. But there's three main timing techniques offhand I can think of that are all very different that we use all of those, and a small handful of like more minor techniques we use as well.
Ooh, ooh. And then will you help us better understand when you said it's based off the Hellenistic theory? What does that mean for us who are not in what you do?
Yeah, so the furthest back we have like horoscopic astrology, so the idea of a birth chart being cast for the moment of a person's birth. That's Hellenistic astrology was sort of the cradle of that. So around is it like 0 AD, like the turn of the other century? Think about like Romans living in Egypt and like cohabitating with Egyptians and being nerds about astronomy together. So like back then, astronomers and astrologers like worked together in the sciences. Like that was a thing, and they sort of like worked with the temple priests. So there was a lot more, I feel like, just respect or like interplay of like different disciplines, arts and sciences and religion. Um, oh, I just drew on my face, but yeah, so that's where like Hellenistic astrology comes from, and then it goes through like before that, there's Mesopotamian and Babylonian and Sumerian astrology, which was more about like being afraid of eclipses and like predicting when your crops would fail and predicting like when you guys would win a war or like who's going to be the next pharaoh. Um,
Mhm.
then there's Egyptian astrology, and then it gets kind of weird with Renaissance and medieval. If you can imagine what like Western Europeans in that mindset would do with astrology. There's some cool stuff in there, but it definitely takes a turn towards the like, okay, um, yeah,
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's really, I love the opening of awareness and that there's not one way to do it or one school, even a time frame, right? Because
yeah,
I mean, we're watching this K drama where they're
yeah,
they're casting like Asian runes. They're based in China somewhere. I'm like, I know that's made up, but I'm sure it's based on some type of historical thing.
yeah. I'm in an Asian, it's a Discord called Crazy Witch Asians, but
Whoop.
we do like an Asian mediumship circle. It's really cool, but yeah, there's folks, Vietnamese people, Filipino people, like, yeah, it's really awesome to get together
I want to
and
be a part of that. I'm Asian.
yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. My son Daniel, that I had mentioned to you before, folks, before I hit the record button, he's actually
yeah,
making his own soul cards for people to do their own self readings. He made
that's
one for
amazing.
his dad, my husband, that broke some barriers we didn't know he was hiding behind. It was
Wow.
crazy, Jam. I was like, whoa. Like my husband, their dad was, he was like, we do left hand, right hand writing, like dominant hand asking
Yeah.
questions, non-dominant hand answering to talk to your subconscious and off of the soul cards. And so their dad did that, and he like was bawling reading over his own answers. And it's part of something that we learned from our therapist from this, like it's almost based on Carl Jung, that your subconscious has all your answers. So this woman came up with these soul cards. You can buy soul card kits on Amazon, I think. Maybe they took them off, but they were on Amazon at one point. And so Danny started making them, but he wouldn't ask the questions associated with the card
Hmm.
until like a year later. And then when he finally answered, his subconscious on his non-dominant hand would answer in poetry.
That's amazing. The soul is amazing.
I know. It's just so nice when we open up gateways to be able to communicate with our own soul, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like shit is trying to be channeled, and then we make it really complicated by like trying to make art. And it's like there's actually plenty of stuff trying to come through if you just unclench a little. That's so cool.
I love that unclench. Okay. So, audience members, before I hit the record button on any of my interviews, I always ask our esteemed guest, is there any no-go zones? And Jam said there are none. So we're going to ask some questions I would normally reserve for like an unrecorded session because Jam's kind enough to open up heart questions. Yeah. So now my kids, because my daughter's non-binary and she'll allow people that are closer to her to be she, they, but other people, they're all they. Does that make sense? And then my son is trans. And so he goes by he, him for now. And so and they all kind of started to really come back into themselves, I would say maybe in the last 3 or 4 years. Daniel more so, like 7 years ago. What about you? When did you know that you were not part of this mainframe um, patriarchal definition of the binary?
Yeah. Um, so when I was a little kid, I for sure didn't know the difference between like people who are assigned boys and people who are assigned girls. And I remember, they make some books for little kids with like anatomy drawings where they're like, this is your body, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember flipping between the girl page and then the boy page and being like, where the fuck am I? Just back and forth. And can I say bad words?
Absolutely. Go
Okay.
ahead.
back and forth. And I was just, and the thought in my head was like, where's the angel page? Which is weird, but like, I in my mind, I was like, I just feel like it's like a blank canvas, right? Like angels shouldn't have junk. I don't know. Um, I also wasn't around, like I was never around boys, never like, so I thought basically everybody was shaped like a doll, and what made you different was on the inside. Um, my theory was that one day you either grew boobs and you meant that you were going to be a mom, or you didn't grow boobs and that meant you were going to be a dad. And like that was my concept for such a long time. Um, and then I pretty much settled, I would say in my early 20s, I went through this really big, like red tent goddess womb wisdom phase that lasted like until my Saturn return, until my late 20s. And I pretty much concluded that like I was non-gendered, but put into like the body I was in so that I could serve women in the moon temple. And that was my hardcore story. Um, and part of it underneath of that is I just knew that if I went on hormones, I would never really grow a beard and I would never ever pass as a man. Like I'm at my T levels right now are at 750. This is like the most butch I've ever looked. Like I have a very like quote unquote feminine just build and genetics.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
and
I
then
mean, listen, you are,
yeah,
I'm gonna swear, you're fucking beautiful, Jam. So,
thanks for saying that.
and part of it is because you feel home.
I feel yeah,
You feel home, right? And I say that because like both my children, even though they're going through rough spots, because we in our family we're very very honest about anniversaries because our bodies remember, even though we're, a lot of people like, you need to let it go. I'm sorry, my body's still processing it, okay? So when
yeah,
anniversaries come around, for a lot of we're processing just past traumas together and individually, right? We will talk about it, and I still see that my kids are home where they are
yeah,
versus before, when they were doing even dance competitions. It was very male female, very, you're
yeah.
this way or that way, and you have to dance this way or that way. So when Danny
Right.
first started doing ballet classes at a company school here, he had to learn the ballet world of how a boy acts.
Gross.
And
Oh wait. Is that kind of cool? Was that affirming though?
it was affirming and not affirming, because
Okay.
ballet itself, even though it's perceived as an effeminate art, is actually very, very gendered, like this. Men do this, women do this. Men do jumps, women do turns. And occasionally you could have a little bit of like this, but the women's classes, they weren't focused on jumps. The men's classes were focused on jumps and maybe like the turning jumps. But not
Hmm.
turns per se. I mean, it was like you were either a natural turner or you weren't. And it was like, no, it's biomechanics. Like, stop it. Like, it's like,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was really interesting for like, because before he joined the ballet school, we were taking an acting class,
Hmm.
and at that time, Daniel had said, I'm definitely, this is not because mom, you have breast cancer. I'm afraid of having boobs. Like, that's not it. And I was like, okay. Because we had just moved here to Salt Lake City from the East Coast, Jam. And
Hmm.
I asked him, what do you need to, like, what do you need from us right now? Because we've moved to this new town. No one knows you. So we could do whatever, we could use whatever gender you like, whatever name you want, however you
Hmm.
identify, let's just do it and just shift it immediately before we try and the people back east, we're going to worry about them later. Just they'll see through the pictures that you're not the same. Like, I wasn't even going
Yeah.
to address it because the underlying theme was, if you don't accept my child, we have no relationship. That was already understood with them, right?
Like yeah.
Right? That's how sorry, parents. That's how all of you should be reacting. Sorry. Because I know
Yeah,
too
Mama
many
Bear.
parents, Jam, too many parents whose children actually died are not on this plane of existence anymore. And that's different, folks. Right? Because I've been part of parents groups where they're like mourning like a death, and I'm like, stop it. Your child's still alive. They just
Yeah.
they just were like a butterfly. They transformed into a butterfly. Deal with it. Stop it. Sorry, parents.
Yeah.
But it's just, Jam, I'm sorry. Mm-mm. I've been to with too many family friends, like close friends, whose child actually are gone energetically.
Yeah.
Their bodies are gone, and that's
Yeah.
different. That you grieve that.
Yeah. Well, and the rate of trigger warning suicide. The rate of suicide in non-binary people is even higher than in binary trans people.
It
So
is.
people should take non-binary stuff very seriously. I feel like even like accepting families are like, oh, whatever, we'll just misgender you forever because you've always been that. And it's like, I feel like people maybe they don't take it as seriously if you're like not, yeah, people should take
Well,
it more.
I agree.
Yeah.
You and my daughter are epitomes of what's precious in the world.
Mm.
You know that. Well, you should know that. Well, we will just keep showing you that because our world doesn't have enough unicorns, you know,
Or narwhals.
or angels like you were self-identifying as before,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my audience members, when you want to find Jam, the Instagram handles in the description. However, if you're driving, right, then you don't go look at the description, please. I'm going to attempt to read out and spell out the IG identifier for yourself. And you're going to be really patient with me, but drive carefully, okay? So you're going to go under IG for Jamita, long underline, like a little short underline line, and then Muscaria, Caria, okay? And then Jam's going to be offering ways to get readings and also for you just to follow because you're going to see us together. I'll be like posting about you on my Instagram anyways. Are there other ways to locate you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's incarnateritualarts.com. Um, the word incarnate, and then the word ritual, and then the word arts, all as one.com. Um, I will say too, a good tip, if I know the Instagram isn't the easiest, if you look up the mushroom that is red with white spots, Amanita muscaria, and put a J in front of it, you'll find me. It'll suggest at some point you put an underscore in there, but that's where it comes from.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And then if this is just too much detail, because I'm one of those people, I'll try and memorize it and then I forget to take that right turn. If you're on the phone, if you're in the car driving, just come back to this episode, okay? And you can also re-listen to it when you're actually not driving. And by people who are on YouTube and or one of the podcasts and you're listening while you're sitting, make sure you just go into the description and click on that IG account anyways and the website which we'll add, okay, Jam, so that they can find you. Because I think it's really important if you've always even been a tiny bit, okay, my audio people, I'm doing a little tiny thing with my fingers, a little bit interested in this world that most of us, because I'm Gen X, this is just a cusp of my generations even being exposed to it. After Gen X, you're really well aware of it. Gen X and earlier, this is something new for us to, in our growth mindset, understand better because this is the direction the world's going into. This is not slow. We're not being snowflakes. It's just the way the world is. Like deal with it. And like artificial intelligence, it's a part of the world now, and it's increasing in the magnitude of the influence. And I want you, if you're hearing this and you're feeling even a tiny bit like I don't want, pay attention to your resistance. Right? Pay attention to your resistance because there's a reason why you're listening to this. And if you're feeling, wow, these people are my people, because this is where I've been really curious, make sure you look up Jam's IG and go to danceandheal.com for my movement stuff so then you can be even more, everyone should do that so then you can be more comfortable. Everyone who's listening, you should be already following Jam already. Like if you haven't gone to the description, I want you to look into why you're not doing that. Okay? Because for Jam to come on a podcast like this is to make oneself very vulnerable. And I need you to reciprocate by following. All right, back to you. Sorry. Jenny's done lecturing my audience.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So when you started the art of teaching, right? You shared with me before we had record that you wanted to be like the rock and the rock tumbler. Explain that, because we're in a world where everyone wants to teach. Everyone, with the joke in the belly dance world about the 6 week wonder. They take one class and they think they can teach. And you're almost the exact opposite. You're like me, we're eternal students.
Yeah. Yeah. I shared that I took 8 years to go through the eight elements program. Oh, look at that, 8 years. So I started in 2014 with phase one. I completed phase four in 2022. But I took time, I like taking years in between the phases, both because I like being a student forever and I don't like getting pushed out of the nest because I really like my teachers. Um, but also because I wanted to evolve and grow during that time. And I'd only been dancing for 2 years when I started. And I just knew, like, oh God, like I want to be a completely different person by the end of this. I don't want to blast through this in 4 years. And I would have been in my mid 20s when I finished. Like, that's too young. And I knew that. So I took a lot of time and a lot of space. And I'm grateful for it because a lot happened in between there. Um, a lot of experiences as a performer and as a human. So I'm really glad I took the time and I can't wait to go back and retake all four phases. I'm gonna do it. I can't get enough.
I think I love that's one of the things I love about you. You don't even know how much you glitter. You just don't know, Jam, because like you're like, oh, this is just who I am. So, audience member, I'm gonna give you a little bit of like most teachers, we're trying to rush through all the certifications because somehow we think it's gonna legitimize us in some way, right? And you want to always be with a teacher that is trauma informed and aware that none of us, no, we don't all fit in that square or round peg. Sometimes you're a star shape and you need someone who's going to be able to see you from there. So because Jam and I, we're always learning as students, we know what it's like to be a student. And so like, just to give you a little behind the scenes thing, we're in a teacher WhatsApp group and Jam, you're the one giving us breakdowns on how you're doing all this stuff. Do you know no one else is really doing that?
I just keep having these moments, Jenny, where I'm like, did I figure out a really good way to like chunk this down? Or did we actually cover this and I forgot because it was 5 years ago? But so far everyone's like, that's really great. So
I
yeah. And
know.
I'm doing Boxana's training right now too, and that's made me like very passionate about helping to explain the finger symbol stuff as well. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. You'll
Yeah.
have to do a one of the teacher workshops.
I want to do a lab at Datura, but I want to do that as like a group choreography experimentation. But yeah.
Yeah, so do that fill out thing on the registration. Like you're interested in teaching a course.
Hmm.
Always, always. I want you to know I know that you were surprised when I asked you to come on the podcast. And I want you to know that there are people like me who see you. And sometimes there are more people like me who need to see you, right? And so we just have to find more ways to have you be more seen. Because you sparkle. I really want you to like radiate and glow. So we have to find ways for to amplify you because your voices like yours really need to be seen and heard.
That means a lot. I appreciate, people like you or people like Rachel making it feel good to be seen. Because I historically have like a really negative connotation with that experience. Um, but it genuinely feels good to be seen by you, by Rachel. After my first workshop with her in like 2012, she remembered me, and I wasn't even in Eight Elements. It was just a workshop, and I went and saw her perform at Tribal Fest way back then. She was in drag performing with Elon, like all these French boys. And she came up to me after she had this crazy like perm wig and was like, Jam. And I was like, hi, who are you? And she was like, it's Rachel. And it made me feel so good because, she locks eyes with students or she drops in with them during class and you can feel it in the way that she leads group improv when she just goes slow and we just shadow. I'm like, she's like checking in with every single person in the room and there's something very special about that and um that's a really big part of like the transmission I want to carry is seeing people in a way where it just feels like like mother hen,
Yeah.
very gentle, like I'm seeing you, I'm not projecting onto you. Um, that, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel was one of the few people in the dance world that reached out to me during my cancer treatment.
Oh my God.
That remembered me, and she private messaged me. And she's not someone who because she gives so much on this public surface, in our
Mhm.
trainings, and also because she's viral and popular and everywhere, right? And Held has one of the foremost leaders in the fusion billions world. She doesn't have a lot
Mhm.
left over, and so I was so moved that she went out of her way to message me because I wasn't expecting anything. I mean, some of the people I thought were my good friends, kind of I lost touch, and there was also some drama that I you can read about in the book, folks. I'm not going to bring it up during this thing. There was, I just found out who my true friends were. Besides her and I think Donna Mejia were the two people who checked in on me.
Donna's amazing.
Yeah, people who truly saw us, because even though, like it's increase in numbers with BIPOC in our world, when back then there weren't that many, and we would still get confused with each other. It didn't matter what gender you were. Like I was once, there's a really darling Asian American dancer by the name of Jenny Nichols out in Atlanta. And I was at an event in Boston. Now, granted, I have to clarify that was during my cancer treatment. So I was bald. And I went to an event where someone came up to me and said, Jenny Nichols, it's so good to see you. And I'm like, Jenny Nichols does not have cancer. Jenny C. Cohen does. And Jenny Nichols is this tall compared to me. Like, okay, so my audio people, I put my hands below my ears. Like that's how tall she is to me. We're that huge a difference in height. And I had
Did
no
you
hair.
say that? Did you say that to their face?
I did because I was in the middle of cancer treatment. I didn't give a fuck. It's just kind of like
Good.
wrong Jenny. Jenny Nichols, I would hope
Yeah.
does not have cancer, and she's in Atlanta,
Yeah. Good.
right? There's something about when you go through shifts where suddenly it doesn't matter as much as you shining your truth.
Mm.
So what is the last message you're feeling compelled to share, if anything's coming up for you right now that the audience needs to know?
I feel like I have three messages, but if I say them fast enough, it'll be like one. If you're,
Take your time. Go.
yeah, I just think if you're considering like training in anything, dance, aerials, whatever, like do it. My mom would always say, shit or get off the pot. I'm like, I don't know which one it is, but go do it. Like, don't wait. There's no reason to wait. For sure, you can learn anything. And of course, you need teachers that can adapt things if there's like physical limitations and all that stuff. Um, yeah, regardless of your athletic ability or the shape of your body or your age or your size, do that. Number two is if you've had any weird just tickle at the back of your mind about gender stuff, research it. Just like we're really good at making our own voices very quiet for years on end. And some people get to the end of their life without listening to their own voice. Um, so just stop being really good at silencing yourself and maybe do some research. Like, yes, you're able to endure a lot of erasure and survive, or you're able to live in hiding your whole life and still do better than everyone else with all their privilege. Good for you. But like at some point, maybe you should like let yourself be a snowflake while you're here. That's you don't get to be in a meat sack for very long. You might as well like I always think about being in a dark cave and just trying to like reach around and feel the edges of it. Like do what you got to do to feel okay in your body. For me, I have to belly dance. I have to learn to consciously control my serratus and my diaphragm and like all this crazy stuff just to feel a little bit okay in a physical form, and it works for me. Um, and then Oh, number three is gone, but yeah, maybe if you have ADHD, take care of that too. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I know what it is. I think it's really important to be honest with yourself about whether you like resent your own existence or whether there's something you hate about the fact that you exist. Because I think a lot of us can think ourselves out of irrational thoughts, but the thoughts are still running. Um, and if the idea of your existence being documented makes your skin crawl, um, I think it's really worth it to like start making your mind a sanctuary for yourself. Like you're the only person who can give yourself a sanctuary, like a true sanctuary when you're in a corporeal form. Um, and if your idea of a life well done means that I'll pass from the earth, the last time somebody speaks my name, I will have the true death, and my existence will be erased from the record, and then I can finally be free of this weird anxiety that I'm doing it wrong. Like, not that I'm speaking from personal experience. That's my personal experience. I don't like being in front of people. I don't like having my picture taken. I don't like social media. And so I don't do actually much of that, but the performance stuff, I do the performance stuff and I make myself go through it. Um, because it's a lot of violence towards yourself to indulge those sorts of tapes running in your head. So maybe each breath is a new beginning. So we keep breathing. Yes.
you gave me chills, Jam. Yeah. So I'm not gonna say much more, audience, because I think Jam said it all. Your time's limited on here. What are you gonna do with the rest of it after this episode ends? Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Dance to Heal podcast with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of inspiring triumph and learn more ways that you can heal yourself. To work with me and continue your journey, visit danceandheal.com. Are you ready to move?